It's the Monday edition of the program where we keep time with political happenings around the country and across the world. It's barely 5 months to when we'll all go out to the polls to decide whether President Bola Tinubu's job will be kept or we look for someone else. And members of the National Assembly in February is going to be the turn of state governors and the state houses of assembly. But in the immediate term, attention is on Osun State, where Governor Adeleke is seeking re-election, and there are other contenders who want his job. We'll focus on that today. With all the violence and all the political shenanigans happening, that will be our focus on the program today. But let's bring you first what we're tracking in terms of our headlines. From months, it's now down to days for the people of Osun State to decide their political future. And who leads them as governor? Will Adeleke be returned, or someone else will take the saddle? Inspector General of Police warns officers and men of the force to uphold professionalism and refrain from compromising tendencies. Thanks again for joining us on the program. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. Well, the two political parties contending are fighting hard, not just them. But we're going to come to that in just a moment. But I want to bring you a bit of a dashboard situation of what we're looking at 5 days or so to the Osun governorship election. If my producer is ready for me, I'm ready as well, where political parties are intensifying their rallies and voter mobilization across the state. Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has now assured that the election will be free and fair. The first thing I want to show you is a close map of the, what you call the population, voting population. So you can see there, that is what the voting population looked like now as against previously. So we're talking 2.3 million people that are of voting age that are expected to vote. And 62% have actually collected their PVCs. So that is the dashboard from INEC. If we go to the next one, we'll get to see how beavers has also been provided. So yeah, so 62% collected their PVCs for this particular election. But you can see in the neighborhood of 3,700, slightly in excess of that, beavers devices have been acquired to make sure this election is free and fair. Now about 1,300 is used for backup reserve for whatever contingencies that is required, because sometimes these beavers actually fail. So INEC is not going to leave anything to chance. So literally half of what is provided, close to half of what is provided for the main election has been provided as backup. So far, we can tell you number of registered voters, again, 2.3 million registered voters in the next one for this particular election, as we can see from some of the slides that will be showing up as we continue the conversation. But again, in all the 30 local government areas in Osun State, ahead of INEC has assured that residents of adequate deployment of security to flashpoints, while civil society groups are calling for a peaceful conduct that will increase voter turnout during the election. So hey, there you can see it. Polling stations across. In case you're from Osun State, I'm sure you can see where your number of polling units. So what this does to politicians and those of us who are journalists, it tells us where the power game is played out. Politicians don't play with numbers because it is numbers game. So 3,763 polling units in all in the entirety of the 30 local government areas of the state. There are high population areas, there are low population areas. Everyone is going to try to get a piece of the pie, and INEC will do the due diligence of managing this process to decide who wins and who lost the election. But all of that will happen on Saturday. Let's tell you how the two political parties contesting, for the record, not just two political parties, but it looks like both of them have been trading words. Accusation of violence and intimidation involving their members and supporters. The latest occurred in Ilesha during a ward rally organized by the All Progressives Congress. Addressing journalists in Osogbo, the Director of Media and Publicity of the APC Campaign Council, Remi Omoye, alleged that the Chief Whip of the State House of Assembly, Adewale Akerele, accompanied by Amoteku Corps personnel, opened fire on personnel, among other claims.
The rally started from Omofe and it was supposed to end at the party secretariat. Ward 4 and 5. We have 10 wards in Elisha West. But to our surprise, the chief whip of the Osun State House of Assembly, Adewale Akerile, popularly called Water, drove past and shot into the air. People scrambled for safety. As if that was not enough, he went and he came back with the Amotekun Govs members, and they started shooting at people, and that caused scrambles. We are going to make video evidence available to you, and in the process about 4 people were shot. And it's so sad that an innocent young boy that was in his mother's shop was shot. When we got the information and we were all scrambling for safety, we were told they took him to one local hospital. So I personally led the team that evacuated the young boy called Toby Lesomi to Wesley Gee.
Inspector General of Police has accused.
Spokesperson of the Mole Campaign Council, Pelumi Olajigbese, accused the Nigerian police force of unlawfully arresting party members. Mr. Olajigbese alleges that more than 60 Accord members were arrested despite committing no crime, including the recent arrest and release of a commissioner.
We are the Commissioner for Environment, Honorable Maiwa Anjori, was arrested in a very, very embarrassing manner by some officers who claimed they had the instruction of the Inspector General of Police to arrest him, and he is now being kept in detention. We want to call on the Inspector General of Police to understand that there's a need for us to have a credible, free and fair election in Osun State. For us to have a credible, free, fair election in Osun State, it is important that citizens of Osun State should be allowed to exercise their political will without intimidation and oppression. Our members are being arrested, and as I addressed the press today, about 62 members of our Accord Party are in different detention across the country. This is logic turned upside down. This is not democracy. And we must not allow this to continue. We are calling on the Inspector General of Police to release all the people that have been arrested for no reason and ensure that we have a free, credible election in Osun State.
Tension, literally. Let's talk about what the Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, has warned officers ahead of the election on Saturday. He states that the police officers must remain neutral, professional, carrying out their duties, and warns any officer against interfering with the voting process or engaging in misconduct. He said they will be punished and publicly sanctioned.
I mentioned the issue of the members of the public are the masters, they are bosses, and then we want to end impunity. Ending impunity does not end with police only. It ends with every member of the community, all Nigerians as well. We will try our best to end impunity amongst our officers, and we have been showing accountability. Officers found to have compromised this law or that laws have been arrested and have been tried, and we are making it public so that people can see that we are not hiding our officers that misbehave. We have told them this election is important to the Nigerian police and to Nigerians. Everybody is looking out to see what we will do in this election. Officers know the punishment for compromising. And I'm using this opportunity to talk to them. For those of them listening, for those of them that we get to know we held this meeting, officers will be sanctioned accordingly. I'm not going to call any officer behind the door and say, this is what you are going to do there. Go there and do the proper work of monitoring, directing the conduct of the election.
I did say at the beginning of the program, our focus is on Osun State governorship election. Let's bring in my guest, the convener, Nigerians for Good Governance, Oladakbo Olawale. Ms. Olawale, thank you for coming on the program. If you can help me unmute your device so we can hear you loud and clear. We can't hear you.
I'm unmuted.
All right, fantastic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Ms. Olawale, thank you so much for coming on the program. Let's begin with what I call believability or otherwise. So we have seen signaling from the IGP himself. He's made one visit to the state because of the violence that has heralded this election, killings in some instances, sadly so. And he had visited the state more like he spoke his mind without mincing words. So the governor, I hear you're harboring people that should be in our custody who are killers. Well, the governor, denied and said he's free to come and pick up anyone. He said same to the APC, but in fact, he also told the commissioner of police in the state to say, look, I don't want to hear this back and forth between you and the governor. And now the commissioner was removed. I heard he was brought back for supervisory. I don't know the facts again, but however, he's now doubled down on the generality of the force to say, guys, we're here to protect lives and property. We don't have any business with the ballot. Let's talk about believability based on the precedence of what has played out, his intervention, and what is. Are you comfortable with the IGP's position? Should we be confident that the police will be neutral?
Yes, thank you very much. You see, it's unfortunate where we have found ourselves in Nigeria and the role that politicians have decided to play in how our democracy is operated, and whether it thrives or otherwise, it will be the politicians. And like I always say, it's the people at the end of the day, because it's almost becoming like leadership is actually not about the people, and it should be about the people. The believability of the stories we had, I'm happy that you're able to play, clips from both sides just now, that each party has been alleged. And let me correct an impression. You just talked about two political parties and it's been a two-horse race. No, there are many political parties participating in this election in Osun this weekend. Of course, the pack are three, not just two. The APC, the Accord, and the ADC of the former governor of the state and national secretary, current national secretary of the ADC. But you see for yourselves that there had not been any ostrating by the ADC. They've just been going on their own campaign. What we currently witness has been largely between the APC and the PDP. And we have seen, these blames here and there, accusations, counter-accusations, like never before. And as if we've not held elections before in Osun. And it is the political actors, the gladiators, that are eating up the system. And virtually also put virtually every institution concerned with election conduct under pressure. So the believability of their stories is about claims, as we see. Otherwise, analysts and opinion holders from outside Osun who are not on ground will only be picking sides of whatever they think the pendulum will swing for them, or wherever their interest lies in this matter, as we currently see. But the current situation in Osun is such that the people are apprehensive. There is panic in town. We just
Oh dear, Mr. Lawley, I'm sure perhaps you're hearing me, but I don't know what's going on with the network. We experienced this time and again, but let's see whether we can get you back. For you and I, by you and I mean CSOs, journalists, people are really, we don't have a dog in this fight. Our interest is to observe the process and report what we see, including security agencies and INEC. They don't have a dog in the fight. Their job is to maintain neutrality and just conduct election. The people that have a dog in this fight are the people, the politicians and the citizens who have a stake on the table to say, this party, I want you, this party, I don't want you. So let's bring them one after the other. I'll come back to the issue of the police because sometimes you see shenanigans even by security agencies. Let's talk about INEC itself. We did speak with Yaga Africa this morning, and they say INEC looks very ready. From where you sit, has INEC done enough to show that they are ready for this poll?
Yes. Last week, they
Oh dear. Okay, let's see. We will still see how we can get Mr. Olawole back. He's raising some. Mr. Olawole, My apologies. We were just back and forth with you, but continue with your trail of thoughts.
So we wanted to meet INEC to get their preparedness, but we could not meet with the leadership. But we were able to get commitment from the spokesperson of the INEC, who was trying to schedule these meetings and reschedule, that INEC is well prepared for this election. INEC is prepared to be impartial. INEC has met up and is meeting up with responsibility. Currently, trainings are going on for election actors, the electoral officers, the presiding officers, and others. And they are currently being trained and retrained to be able to deliver on the mandate that INEC will be giving as many of them as possible in these elections. INEC has given that assurance, INEC has given that commitment to a free, fair, and credible election. And we want to believe with them because we have not really seen anything that INEC has done that would warrant suspicion or us doubting that INEC will not be up to the task that is before them.
Let's talk about the people. I'm going to come back to the agencies who should not have a dog in the fight besides just ensuring that the process is transparent and people feel safe. Let's talk about the most important stakeholders, the people of Osun State. It's always painful to see the level of voter apathy when our elections are conducted. It keeps decreasing and decreasing, and sometimes we get a bit of an upscale. But when you look at the total sum, we can say, for instance, in Anambra, it was almost 10%, the election before this last one. This last one we were able to get about 2021. But it's almost 100% increase from the previous. But if you look at the value itself, 20%, you know what that does to the mindset? How many people decided who leads them? How can CSOs, political parties, INEC, and the rest of us help the Osun people to say, we just give the police a chance, come out and cast your ballot? Because it is abysmal and painful to see that we are doing 20% of voter turnout in a country that should be politically active like Nigeria. That means for every 100 persons, just 20 people decided who will lead them.
Yeah, it's rather very unfortunate that voter apathy is something big system here in Nigeria. Tells of the rules about governance, about them, about what policies are done that affects them. So what it means is people are taken from governance, and as such, the process by which leadership emerges in governance does not command them. And you know, sometimes like CSO try to encourage people to go out, vote, but like I said on some other, there will be very heavy voter apathy in this election in Osun. And the reasons why that will happen is largely insecurity. In the last 3 months, there has been killings, maimings, shootings, you know, this blame game all around insecurity. Currently, as I speak to you, on the street of Osun, there is apprehension, there is panic, there is confusion. And of course, this eventually lead to apathy. Quite a number of persons who feels insecure might decide not to come out. But again, for a fact, we see the role that vote playing in Ireland. So, figure rises a bit. It might perhaps be because and quite a lot of persons might feel, let's go cash out in this election. And for that reason, they will go vote. But of their own volition, it might actually be difficult to find. So voter apathy will continue as long as leadership they are not, but as long as they do not present they are going to vote. And it's something that worries all of us. And in a democracy, it should not be. Or perhaps, if our electoral system gets to a point where people can vote electronically or by proxy, maybe we'll see. But as long as it remains only that you will go to polling units to go do accreditation and cast your vote and then leave to monitor, again, rigging is also a fuel for voter apathy. When people feel that they have voted in a particular pattern and then the result does not come out to show what they think they have done. Also, distrust in governance and in government at all levels is also a fuel for voter apathy. So as long as all of these, like I have just listed, are available and are ingredients that the people see, it definitely would lead to voter apathy anytime, any day, in any elections in Nigeria. Either general elections.
Yes. Let's talk about police, because I wanted us to exhaust every stakeholder. Let's talk about the police. I have a feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, that if we have security agencies assuring the people that no matter whose ox is God, you will be protected before, during, and after the election, I think the bigger problem sometimes, we may be looking at INEC and results not representing, quote unquote, the wishes of the people. But we also forget, you and I have been on the field, we cover these things, and we see that sometimes the shenanigans that happen between polling unit and collation center, you want to enter places and you're prevented from entering places. Why are they preventing us from doing our job? Now, the only person that can do that is not even INEC, it's not even the political parties, it's the security agencies, or the security agencies may be backing whoever is doing that shenanigans. So, how much more can we say to security agencies to tell them to say, look, the success and survival of our democracy, to a large extent, doesn't just depend on INEC, but you?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, like I said, the police, being the leading security agencies that are attached to elections, have a huge role to play. But you just mentioned shenanigans. Who does the shenanigans? Who plans them? You just saw the reports of what has happened to A and to B in these elections. Accusations of killings, accusations of maimings. What is the number of policemen to citizens? What's the ratio in Nigeria? What's the expected ratio? Before you say there is crisis in Okefia, before you know it, there is crisis in the other part of town. And by the time the police begin to distribute their manpower, you discover that they're even overwhelmed. That's pre-election. On election day, is it not pathetic? The figure we are listening to, that 4 policemen will mount a polling unit. That's the best that the police can do. But on the larger security of the nation, for a nation that is currently battling insurgency, battling insecurity of all kinds, kidnappings, and then in Osun, we have 332 wards, and there is no ward with less than 10. You can imagine the number, and then multiply that by 4 policemen per polling unit. So the question becomes, why would our politicians make the situation this bad, that the nation will have to overstretch our security resources on just one election in one state? Then what happens in the general election? So for me, as long as I actually like to blame the police, as long as yes, everybody wants to point out to the opinion of saying the police hasn't done so well in this place, I put the blame at the door of politicians who will stop at nothing to win election.
Mr. Lawale, yes, I get your point. And sometimes I try to refrain from blaming politicians. The reason is because, I'm sorry, but a lot of politicians have not matured. And because it's an interest game, we see all kinds of things. So I lower my expectation almost to zero when it comes to politicians. They can behave as they like. That's why we should have institutions that will straighten them up. And that brings me to my next question, and the issue of governance and the attention to victory in election. And this is not unique to the APC. It's any party that is a ruling party. We understand that it's going to be literally of political party bigwigs avalanche on the state who are coming in. Governors will leave their state as early as tomorrow to be in Osun to ensure victory for their party. What do you make of these kinds of behavior by the political class? And this is not an APC problem. It's political class problem.
Yeah. Thank you very much. We saw it play out in 2022. PDP governors were in Osun to support the incumbent who has declared now to our core party. We saw that happen. We saw APC governors also come around. Just like you said, it speaks of what our thoughts as a people on governance and leadership is. Because the question becomes, if governance is so important to you in your state, why will you leave the very issue of governance in your state and come to another state for election? But the truth is, That is what our politicians have made of governance and of leadership. And until the people also understand this, that politicians will stop at nothing. That to politicians, all is fair in politics. And that's why if today such arrangement favors somebody, it becomes an issue the moment it stops favoring you. And that's why I have always advised citizens of Nigeria to look beyond politicians of whichever party and whatever interest you think they represent. There is only one interest that politicians represent, and that is their own interest.
All right.
The people have taken the back seat in the thinking of political leaders on governance.
All right. There's a lot of, one of the things I hate the most as a journalist is what is going on in Osun State. It has denied us the opportunity to interrogate the government of Ademola Adeleke, whether or not he's qualified to be given another chance. It has also denied us the opportunity of interrogating other candidates to know what they are bringing to the table. We're here debating security, voter apathy, and I think sometimes politicians do these things deliberately. But you and I have to keep our heads straight to make sure that we bring the real issues that matter to the people. Mr. Oladapo Olawole is a convener, Nigerians for Good Governance. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure.
Just before we go, let's tell you that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has now extended the deadline for the political parties to upload their governorship and state assembly candidates for the 2027 general election. The deadline initially set for Saturday, which was 2 days ago, August the 8th, has now been moved to Tuesday, tomorrow, August the 11th, following appeals from political parties for more time to complete their submissions. Meanwhile, voters who apply for replacement of lost, damaged, or defaced PVCs have until midnight today, or that should be yesterday, by the way, Sunday, August the 9th, to download their replacement card. The INEC says the deadline will enable it finalize figures ahead of the August the 15th Osun State governorship election. The Commission also confirms that replacement downloadable PVCs are available for affected voters in Odotin and Ife Central following the theft of cards from collection centers. INEC says the stolen PVCs cannot be used to vote and assures Osun voters of free, fair, credible and inclusive election come Saturday, August the 15th. And that's it on the program. On behalf of the entire team, here and behind the scene, thank you for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics. Bye-bye.